everyone, it's Melanie again with another episode of Scrap With Me, and I have to tell you I'm going to be flying through this one because I have only about 10 minutes of good daylight from my window left to light this, and I have my children plopped down in front of Clifford the Big Red Dog for about 15 minutes, and so I have a brief amount of time to get this done. So I am doing a layout from the Magic Idea Book by Jeanette Linton. It is called Mistletoe. It is on pages 36 and 37 of the book. It is a wonderful layout that I've really enjoyed doing, and I'm going to be using a paper pack that I've used before recently, and that is the Mistletoe pack. Now, if you'll recall, the last layout I did was quite Christmassy. The Mistletoe paper pack has some kind of snowflake images, it has stripes that are kind of like candy cane stripes, but today I'm going to show you how you can use the Mistletoe paper pack to do a layout that is completely not Christmas related. So let's get started. To start, we're going to use a 12 by 12 piece of paper, which you can see I have stamped and distressed on the edges, stamped with a stitching line. And we are going to be starting by placing a piece of paper, piece of paper along this side of the layout. The piece of paper measures 1/2 inch by 11 inches, and you will notice that while the back is stripy, the front is actually this music pattern. And why is that? It's not because the back is stripy and the front is musical naturally. It's because I had a piece that was about this long, and I had a piece that was about this long, but I didn't have a whole piece because I love this music paper so much, and I used it all up. So believe it or not, there is a cut mark underneath one of these ribbons, and it is disguised to look like one continuous piece of paper. But that is a trick that I used to get the most of my paper. Now I'm going to lay this 1/2 inch from the left edge of my layout and 1/2 inch from the tops and bottoms as well. Okay. All right. Oh, here comes one of my darlings. Next, I'm going to place a photo on the layout. It's 5.5 by 9.5 inches, and I'm just going to bump it up against the side here. Get it straightened across there. Okay, and then I have a title block, and that measures 1.5 by 9 inches. Now, you can already see that this layout isn't looking particularly Christmassy. In fact, it's a layout with pictures that I took in June 2 years ago. So I'm using the papers in ways that highlight the stylistic designs, but not necessarily the seasonal designs. Here you can see that little Christmas tree pattern kind of in there. But if you lay it out like this, and you can see I've accented it by adding brads in the middle of the circles, it's not as obviously a Christmas design. Now this piece of paper is 2.5 by 3.5 inches. And then I have a journaling block here. I'm going to tuck in right beside here, and this is in the cocoa. And the journaling block is 3.5 by 4 inches. And then I've got my journaling, the first part of my journaling, which is a verse that inspired the layout. And I'm going to place that just on top of the journaling block. And that one is 3 by 3.5 inches. And finally on this page, I have just this stripy pattern, which again, if you flip it, looks pretty Christmassy, but on the other side is a fairly neutral pattern. And this piece is going to just tuck in here along the side, and that's 3 by 3.5 inches. The words for my layout are from a psalm, so I'm going to put that, oh actually I wanted to put a little higher because there's a lot of kind of dirt in this picture, so I'm going to actually have the title kind of overlap the photo. And because it is a fairly small space, I'm going to kind of jig and jag the letters of the word. Psalm. And it's Psalm 89. Now, if any of you have seen a 9 in your vicinity, if you could return it to my house, that'd be great, because it has gone missing since I started planning to do this video. I cut it, I pasted it, but I don't know where it went. Anyways, there you go. And I'm missing a 9. So that's page 1 of the layout. So the next page we're going to start with the same type of thing. We're going to be using this white piece of paper, Colonial White, which has again been stamped and distressed. We're going to start from the bottom left corner with again this musical design here, which has been distressed, and we're going to place it 1/2 inch from the edge of the page, like that. Okay. And this piece is 3.5 by 4 inches. Then we have a photo, and this photo has been just trimmed ever so slightly. It's 4 by 5.5 inches. Okay, and then beside that, I've got a designed paper again. Here we go, and we're going to pop that on there. This piece measures 3 by 3.5. Above here we've got a smaller piece to kind of fill in, and again to kind of mimic the ribbon tied effect that we had on the other page, I've got a ribbon tied around it, and this piece will measure 2 by 3 inches. Above that I'm going to place a decorative strip, again similar with the brads there, and this is 3 by 5.5 inches. And I have to go get a different snack. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. And then above this little pattern section here, we have a strip here. This one measures 2 by 4 inches, and it'll kind of be contiguous with the other page where we have that long strip here, and it kind of unifies the 2 pages visually. Above that, we have a photo again, trimmed to the same size, 4 by 5.5 inches, so just a 1/2 inch off the top and bottom, not a tricky size to accommodate. And then finally on this side of the layout we have a photo measuring again 4 by 5.5, but we are going to be putting a journaling block tucked in behind. So to start out with, I have put adhesive only along the sides, the bottom, the sides and the bottom. I'm going to adhere it to the layout, but I often find that if you're going to have an interactive part of your layout, a lot of times adhesive just doesn't cut it on its own. So I'm actually going to be using these bitty brads, and it's easy to use these bitty brads without them being too noticeable because they're unified with the layout. I have brads over here, I have brads on the other page, and they will act as an actual functional brad as opposed to a decorative brad. So I've got my little piercing mat and my piercing tool, and I'm going to pierce the corner, leave it where it is, and pop in my brad so it goes in nicely. Flip it over and just open up the tongs, tines, not tongs, tines. Alright, and I'm going to do that to each of the 4 corners. Okay, so there we go. So now we have a pocket in here. So we've got adhesive along these sides, and then if you lift, we have a pocket tucked in here. Now I have cut a journaling tag to be a 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch actually, no, 1/2 inch smaller than the photos. So it is 3.5 by 5 inches. I would say it's maybe a little bit too large. It's going to be quite the little tuck, and I've just stamped a couple of trees from the it says around the block, but I'm sure this is in the wrong package. I'll get the stamp set to you. So I stamped a couple of those trees just to make a little tab, wrapped a ribbon around it again, the Colonial White grosgrain ribbon, and that tucks right in there. The ribbon's maybe a little trickier to tuck, maybe not a wise idea, especially considering that my paper is just barely the right size. Oh, that's not too bad actually. So there you go. So you have a little, whoopsie, a little journaling block tucked in behind there, and there you have it. That's not too bad considering the week we've had with sick kids and craziness. I would say that I did a pretty good job laying that out for you and showing you how you can use a Christmas package in a completely non-seasonal way. All right, have a great day. Bye.